Hello, a question to Kimberly Abbott.
So Kim, you with us?
It was about the intersection between SDGs and ESGs and whether they are measuring, whether they are mapping the SDG impact in the ESG impact report.
So is Kim still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so did you hear the question?
I did. So what we are doing is we are basically doing SDGs in addition to ESG. So some of the factors in ESG do align with Sustainable Development Goals. So things obviously like emissions align with SDG 13.1. But actually, because ESG is so limited in what it looks at and that it is looking internal, we basically, we tell most of our providers, if they want to do ESG, they can get that elsewhere, and they do that. But what we do is SDGs are a plus. But one other thing I'll just note on that, though, because it's usually the question that follows, is human rights. Human rights aren't adequately covered in the Sustainable Development Goals, if I'm honest. But they are a factor in social and governance of ESG. So we have 10,000 human rights articles that we've mapped in to our system to help kind of still make sure we put a focus on human rights alongside the SDGs, acknowledging that they are imperfect themselves.
Thank you, Kim. Another question? Yes, sure. You can ask questions to any of the three panelists.
Yeah, first of all, I'm so proud of you, Noor. This is in you, because about the Lebanese law are already stored in the KC database.
Yes.
So this is what I understood, and this is new, brand new. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And you said also KC, after taking the decision according to the case, a human lawyer will be doing the quality assurance of the result.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Did I understood?
Yes.
So many quality assurance are done by different Arabic or Lebanese lawyer, and according to the cases, these decisions of the lawyers are restored in KC database, so it will be enhancing the quality of the decision of KC, right? This is what I understood, or
yes.
Thank you.
First, I would like to point out that there will be like many types of legal experts that will give this feedback, because you know that maybe there's biased experts or unbiased experts.
Is Sadr group ally with you?
No. That's not a question for me, to me.
You know, a question about the deterministic model of KC. I mean, I can't really understand or accept that a system would be final verdict on an issue. When do you expect that there will be an anti-KC model that will have some kind of argument or to find loopholes in KC's decision?
Yeah, that's totally logical. And I was saying a point that replies to this question, that KC, as I said, there will be many types of legal experts that will enhance the decision. But some of them will try to be biased and make KC biased, and she was developed on unbiased data. So that here comes that we need to gather a lot of experts and like normalize everything to get a balance between everything, and that in this way, Casey will be normalized, and she will give as it was prompt and as it learned, and of course she will try to balance everything together to give informed decisions. But we can't remove that like we are trying our best, but this is normal, and we are expecting that. But that's why we need to gather several ages of legal experts, several types, several gender, race, religion, all of that to make as much as we can KC balanced between everything.
So if you continue, so how much, what's the percentage of precision or the good decision? It's 70% now, or it's going to move up, or where are you standing now with KC?
Okay.
I mean, if you try different cases, so
Yes.
all the Lebanese law is
Yes.
stored in the database,
Yes.
and KC is giving the decision accordingly.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a new project, and I would like to highlight that KC wasn't taught on the jurisprudence and doctrine to say that KC is 100% correct in its decision. But later on, when we enhance this feedback, when we enhance the data, when we enhance the testing and all of that, we will be able to prompt more and more KC better. But right now, for this type of case and what we saw, this saw that really AI will be needed in this legal field, and that it's really promising.
It's promising.
Yes.
So, but you continue enhancing the pattern that you entered in the AI.
Yes.
You continue that. And
Yes.
this process, it has to be a teamwork. I mean, it's a
Right.
collaboration
That-
between
It will be from all
the lawyers and the
we will
specialists.
use all the developers of Siren, legal consultants, legal experts, and all of that. And we will mix all these capabilities to make KC the best.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Can we take the microphone up on top? There's a question.
Thank you for your presentation. I want to ask about the human in the loop factor, about evaluating and enhancing the output of KC. So there must be some sampling should be done from the case perspective. First, I have to sample cases. Second, I have to choose a sample size. Have you thought of this so far or not yet?
You mean the context, sample size as context?
Like, I want to evaluate KC, I have to take different cases, right?
Yes.
Of different types.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
one. Have you thought of this?
Okay.
Second, the sample size of experts who will evaluate KC. Thank you.
Okay.
So how many cases and how many experts do we need to evaluate KC?
We need 1,000 and millions of cases. Like, as you all know, more the data, the better the output. So
Yeah, but as you know, expert annotation or expert opinion is expensive. Certainly, the sample will be limited, right? Or it will be online, like they give their opinion online while they are using KC.
I think you're asking the question to the to the wrong person, because it's not my decision, all of that. But if it was my decision, I would like whatever it takes to make KC better.
Thank you, certainly.
So other questions at the back? Maybe I can comment a bit on KC and the legal AI. What is interesting in legal AI is that it has several dimensions. First, there's a very pure objective dimensions where you actually take the case and benchmark it against the law. So it's very strict and very objective to a certain extent. There's no subjectivity here. You just need to map information against the law and come up with recommendation that will provide the legal argument to the judge. The next level is when you put jurisprudence, you're deliberately bringing subjectivity into the judge recommendation, the KC recommendations. But this tells you that actually jurisprudence is a subjective element. So it allows you to bring all the past mistakes into the future decisions. But this is how the legal sector functions, right? It builds on jurisprudence. So eventually you could give the user the choice to look just objectively at the hardcore legal references or bring in the jurisprudence. Now, the third layer is a very interesting one, is the doctrine. The doctrine will put the logic according to which you can evaluate the mix between the jurisprudence and the legal matching and decide whether it's being done correctly or not. So I think you can embed within the machine, the whole combination of legal jurisprudence, which is not necessarily objective, and the doctrine, which is more embedded into mechanics and logic in the litigation, that will allow you to have the best recommendation from the judge. So this is a bit some kind of thinking that can guide, the research going forward.
Yes. Noor, first off, thank you for your presentation. You and your team, you have done a great job, obviously.
Thank you.
Just my question for you is, obviously you've described a very powerful tool in your presentation. So I wanted to know, with all the knowledge, the information, and being devoid of emotion as an AI chatbot, I wanted just to know that, in your personal opinion, if one day this chatbot can transition from being an assisting tool to actually replacing a judge or a lawyer, since it has the potential to do so, I think. So if you could just share your opinion with us.
Okay, so my answer is it will never be the case, because like everyone says that AI will replace a human, but a human is correcting the AI when it's giving a wrong decision or wrong output, right output. All of that is in our control. We developed it. So I don't think that it can replace us one day, but it will help us be more productive, efficient, maybe include things that we didn't mention in our thought process.
And just one more thing.
I want to bring to your attention one thing we've been discussing. Yes. Actually. When you run this kind of LLM, you have two levels. You have the high level of precision that's going to map the case to the law. But you also have a level of broad contextual analysis that will take a much broader view, taking into consideration the country, the situation, the history, etc., that will help the judge, put a touch of subjectivity into decision and bring his decision more into a combination of legal and human mix. And this broader context is an interesting one. To what extent can we bring it into the LLM? And this, I think, is the next level towards which the research can be moving. And all LLMs actually are challenged in the level of contextualization that they have and how much breadth or how much holistic they can get in their analysis versus how much precision. The precision is easy. It's just computational speed, right? But breadth and holistic approach is the challenge. And this is, I think, what would make AI more intelligent to a certain extent.
Are there any cybersecurity concerns regarding the chatbot?
Right now, no. But if it becomes bigger, we will work on that.
All right, thank you.
Other questions? We can pass on the microphone.
So I have a question first.
Yeah, go ahead. And we'll bring the microphone over later.
Okay, I have a question about the YouTube recommendation system.
Yes.
If she's still with us. My question is about, do you study the features importance, or you only care about the end result? Because we may later add more feature to improve the model based on insights we get, or we just throw a lot of inputs and hope to improve it?
I think we need both.
No, about YouTube.
Oh, I'm all
Thank you so much for your question. Sorry, I didn't capture your name.
Thomas.
Dane, this is to you.
Yeah, I figured. Thanks. So Thomas, this is a great question, and we have large dedicated teams for feature engineering and feature importance analysis and ablation experiments. So we do run lots of offline feature importance analysis that help us understand signals correlations and also how they contribute to certain factors such as watch time or valued watch time. And then we run on top of that online experiments. Then we see how certain set of features perform with online experiments. And then later on, at a later stage, once a certain set of features are launched, we do ablation experiments. So removing certain features and see how that actually impacts certain metrics. And as you might guess, our metric system itself is also complex. And so we have a lot of metrics that we care about. As I mentioned before, ultimately we optimize for valued watch time. And so we kind of make metrics trade off whether something is better for the viewers or not. And we do lots of feature importance analysis. Actually, it's like one of the toughest part of our job.
And do you
Darine, I have a question for you on this. How do you analyze the dimension that's always brought up on social media, which is related to the whole polarization debate? You know, the more you automate the advice to the users, and the more you polarize the opinions and the preferences, because you serve them more of what they like, and they like more of what they like, etc. And there's this whole debate about, you know, this kind of thing, stopping dialogue or impeding dialogue. And what do you think about this? And the other question is your algorithm audited by any governance entity, or does it follow any regulations that will ensure that it is working towards the social good in a certain way?
Thank you very much. Those are two good questions. For the first question, so this is pretty much a classic case of recommending what the user is interested in versus exploration and recommending fresh content that the user might be interested in or the viewer might be interested in. And this is what we do for the first question, is that we have models that understand what is popular and what the viewer is interested in, recommend more of that, but we also have models that try to understand novel and new interest, like spark interests in different topics, different interest clusters. And for the second question, yes, absolutely, there are lots of regulatory evaluations. In fact, this is the part of our job that takes a long time compared to different startups, or because YouTube is definitely not a startup anymore, but like startups don't have so heavy regulations. And so because we do, sometimes it might take longer for us to do something. If you're interested in more details on what kind of regulatory reviews we have, I'm very happy to also connect you with my colleague who's responsible for those kind of questions. Her name is Dalia Elfiki, and her email is dalia.e@google.com.
Thank you, Darine. We have more questions in the room. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Darine, for the presentation. I want to ask about the counterfactual A/B testing. So you mentioned two groups, the control group and the group subjected to the feature.
Yeah.
For the group subjected to the feature, it's easy to know the portion which was interacted with the feature. But for the group which was not subjected for the feature, how I know what portion that would have interacted with the feature?
This is a good question, and I think this is one of the things that take time in the beginning for new engineers to onboard on the concept of counterfactual analysis. But I haven't captured your name first.
Ahmed Mustafa, PhD here at AUB. PhD student at AUB.
Thank you, Ahmed. So you have to do some logging in your implementation to determine whether this traffic would be would have been eligible for the treatment or not. As an example, if you want to show a prompt to the user, encouraging them to subscribe to a channel if they liked the video of the channel, and also if they are not already subscribed. So you would have to log that, this user has liked the video and is not subscribed to the channel. And then when you analyze the difference of the impact between the control traffic and the experiment traffic, you would only analyze those with who have this logging actually done, like who got logged.
Interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Darin. Please go ahead.
Okay, my question it's about Casey. It's actually an interesting use case, practical example of Gen AI usage. So I would like to ask in the area of, would I say, accountability and control or ownership, because such a tool, I guess it's going to be in the hands of the judge, because in the case where you have it in the wrong hands, I wonder the effects and impact that might have on people who are not within the legal framework using such a tool to, for example, let's use the case of VAR usage in football, where the coach has to evaluate whether something that's gone on and make a final decision about, what happened in the match and what they would do next within the match. So, is this going to be is there going to be a control on the usage of this tool and making sure that it's really in the right hands and how it's being used? That's on one side. And on the other point around control as well, the prompting, because a lot of the large language models is about garbage in, garbage out, even with the inference. So how you prompt it determines the kind of response or output you get. Did you find any differences in the sort of responses you get from Casey from the different types of prompts that you put into it? Did you find any differences and things that work better than others?
Okay, so for the part where Casey is retrieving the relevant articles, here there is nothing wrong because the retrieval part is strong. But of course, when prompting, the decision will change. And because, okay, we are giving the same context to Casey, but while prompting, if you tell her to be unfair, she will be unfair. If you tell her to be fair, she will be fair. So it's really, really, really important to prompt well and try as much as we can to be specific and give her examples and all of that to make an informed decision.
Yeah, because I wonder when we say unbiased LLM, that's an interesting term coming together because I wonder as well whether some bias could also come in the way we are prompting Casey as well,
Yes.
because of, for example, the examples and the way the kind of language we use. So that would also be an interesting thing to consider.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
Since you said that the Casey uses the law, the Lebanese law, so the entry level, it's on Arabic, right? Using the Arabic language specifically.
Yes.
It could be
but
in
also
the
English. Arabic and English. There's the Lebanese laws and
so
the
you
international
translate the Lebanese law into English?
No.
No. But how Casey will be understanding if you ask her in English?
That's why we need the embedding part.
Exactly.
Because here, Casey can't understand other than embeddings. Where we transform the text into numerical representation, like sort of vectors. And here, we can use a multilingual embedding model that can embed in English, Arabic, etc. That's why Casey can talk in many languages and understand many languages.
But currently, you ask Casey in Arabic.
You can even ask her in English, and she will give you the
because
same
the law,
answer.
it's really الأرقام يعني 11 11 بالعربي. So
of course, here in this part, there will be a translation model.
Will be more working.
So if you ask Casey in English, even if she finds something in Arabic, of course she will translate it into English to reply. But if you ask Casey in Arabic, she will reply in Arabic.
Can I ask one more small question?
Yes.
How did you enter?
This
Okay,
is the last
This is
question.
the last one.
Before, otherwise, they will kick us out of the room.
When you enter the law, okay, you have certain way to enter them because it should be indexed and it should be like sequence in a certain key and stuff like that. So how what method you use?
Okay, so here comes the important part of chunking, where I explained that the document that is a law document. The law document contains Article 1, 2, yes. So we chunk it based on articles, and then we embed these articles that are our chunks, and when the user asks a question, he can find and extract and retrieve the relevant article.
Any demo trial? Can we see that?
That was a demo.
Okay.
Yes, and even we have the link.
Okay.
Yes.
Noor, I have a question for you. If people email you, would you give them a link on which they can test Casey and play with questions and prompts? Can you provide them a link with user and password so that they can play around? Okay, so you reach out to Noor, get her email, and she will give you access to Casey so you can play with, play judge and lawyer role. Okay? So, Lama, the floor is yours. It was a great panel, a wonderful mix of angles and perspectives, but there was something in common among all these panelists. Everybody was talking about impact, but it's different impact at different level with different objectives, and more, I hope, to come on research and development on this front. Lama, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Carol, for this amazing panel. Great talks. Thank you to Noor, Dareen, and Kim for the amazing talks. With this, we conclude the Women in Data Science Day. We will get back in touch with you in a couple of weeks with closing a newsletter with all the videos, so that if you missed any of the talks, or if you wanted to re-watch, you can do that. So we'll be in touch again, and thank you for being here today.